Right, so this game's exposed. We're live here with Nicholson1968 on a non-scheduled broadcast. Although it's fully recorded, this is a recording, but it doesn't matter.
Well, first of all, just thanks for hitting me up and wanting to chat. And I like in your channel. I like yours is a little bit unique, and with covering the video games out there. Not everybody's doing that, and I know that's not for everybody, but it needs attention. And I just wanted to say, thank you for doing that with the quality and the effort that you're putting into those videos. And I'll continue to support you on my website for doing that. So I wanted to get that out of the way and let you know that. And I appreciate you putting that out there. But yeah, I mean, my origins, I'm of course from America, Southern America, from my accent. Grew up in just normal guy, just country guy back in the, country, country guy, but nothing special. And I was raised in a Baptist upbringing, kind of a religious thing, organized. But I didn't really get too much into it. I believe there was a creator, and I believe there's a higher being, and that's where I started. But then when I got older, I stepped away from the church and kind of got away from it, and did my thing and worked. Got married, had kids, that kind of thing, and kind of as things went on, which I've got a video that on my website, Nicholson1968.com. The About section kind of tells a little more in depth. I'll give you the cliff notes for right now, but just kind of something was revealed to me in a dream. It was an image, and it's based on my website and my videos of where it's going in the future with the transhumanism, the iron and the clay mixing, that kind of thing. That's kind of what it got me started. When you go there, you'll see things based off of a lot of people, Vasto, they discover science, and then there's those that discover spirituality. And not very many people can meet in the middle. They're either all science or they're all spiritual. And what happened to me was the Creator shared something with me that brought them together, of the things that were going on with the New World Order, Illuminati, conspiratorial stuff, which was matching up with the spiritual stuff. And so that's kind of what you're going to get when you come to my website or my videos. And not preaching to you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has their own beliefs, free to believe whatever. I'm not going to come there and bash you and say you're going to hell for not watching my videos. It's just, I just deliver the facts in a unique way, and here's the information. Do with it what you will, and everybody has a different journey.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, what I see usually on your channel and on your interpretations, I don't see you bashing anyone who has other beliefs. And you say you come from the South and you're a country boy, but that can't be seen in your videos, man. Like, you are fully modern. You are like a modern cowboy or something. And you can tell me a little bit about your passion towards technology, because I know you like to delve into the IT world a lot.
I do. I like to create. It takes a little time, but I like to create music. I like the creative aspects of videos, and I have a regular job as well, but I don't get to be as creative and in charge. So in the IT world or the computer world, I get to be in total control of my videos and what I put in them and things like that. Now, as far as uploading them and letting them stay up on YouTube, that's a whole nother story of, we usually get taken down sometimes if I get too deep. But I do like the technology aspect of things you can do now. Is just unbelievable how far we've come in 10 years. Things you can put in the videos and rendering and doing the music and things like that. So it's very fun to me, a creative aspect of my brain, I guess.
You do have this experience of 10 years in the truth seeker zone, which many of us don't have. Like, I've started just a few years back. I mean, I know about this sort of area since maybe 2007, but I started doing, for example, this channel only this year, which is kind of ending right now, but in the beginning of this year, I started a channel, and before that I had a radio show, which, of course, there are a lot of online alternative radio stations now. Tell us, what's the difference between how it was 10 years ago and how it is now? How things have changed over time?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll start off with this. When I started, I just did blogging. I did Blogspot, and I didn't do videos. I was just writing things and information, and uploading pictures and stuff like that. Because YouTube wasn't around. I don't believe in 10 years ago, it wasn't around. So it was only later that I started doing videos. But that's a good question. I'll tell you where it's changed. Back in the day, after 9/11, you had three sets of people. You had people that were totally asleep, in denial. Then you had the people in the middle that was a little iffy. And then you had some people that were awake. Where it's come now, and I can only speak for America and based off of my website and input, is there's no middle ground hardly anymore. It's being very, very getting separated. Is you're either totally asleep and don't get it, or you're awake, and there's nobody really in the middle gray area anymore. That's becoming more and more. I see that as we go here into 2016.
How is the percentage when it comes to the numbers of people that are on each side? Obviously, I would think most people are on the believing the official story side. What's your perspective?
I think, let's just take 9/11. You go back 10 years ago, man, you were a nut. But look where we've come now. You're right. I would say, man, I think it's high, especially here in the United States. I would say 75-80% of people that come to my site don't believe the official story in some form or fashion. They don't believe it. And that's the key to making videos sometimes. It's hard because we're all at different levels of waking up or awareness. I've got people that come to my site that were awake and knew about 9/11, 7 years ago. Then you have people just this year that are really starting to wake up about just 9/11. We're not even going to cover chemtrails and transhumanism or anything like that. They're not even there yet. They're still stuck back in 9/11. So you've got a bunch of different people that are at different levels of accepting what's conspiratorial or not. I see. So, but at least people are moving. I see a bigger move. You can tell just in my views and in my website that it's kind of gone up in the last 2 years because people are asking questions and waking up.
Yeah, it's fantastic to ask questions. I think this is one of my major problem throughout the years. I've always asked questions about anything, everything, and even when I didn't have internet, I felt that something was wrong and I didn't know what. Why is the system like this? I wouldn't fit in at all. Mm-hmm. And I was asking myself why this seems unnatural for human beings to create such a self-destructing environment for them. Now, when it comes to 9/11, it's an important topic. We still talk about it. I think it's relevant to talk about it because it's the point which changed kind of everything. Even though the system was laid down even before that time, or part of the plan, but it was like an acceleration point, don't you think?
Yes, I definitely agree with that. It was an acceleration to the the bigger agenda that people, and that's one thing for people to wrap their head around. They don't believe in conspiracy because it's too big for them to wrap their head around. Things like that. That's the key. They don't want you. That's why they try to entertain us as much as possible. If you just look at 9/11, then you'll never figure it out. But if you start piecing together other things and putting it together for the bigger picture, then that's when you start kind of waking up. Because you can always notice this for those out there listening. And you start seeking truth, you start stumbling on things like 9/11, what have I been lied to about this? Then I may be lied to about this and I need to ask questions. Then, and this is just me, Vosto, is most people that start seeking truth, they start eating better. That is a weird correlation, but I'm telling you, when you start stumbling on things, you get into the spiritual aspect, whatever that may be, and you start eating better, you start seeking better food. It's a natural progression that I think people come to, because you can almost ask every person out there that's been doing it for a while. It's just more than seeking truth. You start learning it's an attack on us, humanity, from all aspects.
Yeah, the soul and the body and everything, basically. What I've seen from my area of decoding video games, like when I was playing this game, The Evil Within, of course, the horror game, you would expect it to be dark and evil, right? But there are some things which have a clear occult message behind, which most people just go over it. Like they go through, pass by the wall, and they don't look at the wall and what's on the wall. And I looked at the wall, and there was this image with the representation of man, and you've had this man, and there was the all-seeing eye kind of holding the brain on the left hand and the heart on the right hand. And for me, that was a clear representation of control of both heart and mind, Yes. And the whole game was about MK Ultra brainwashing. It's actually my second episode of the Games Exposed series. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
And you said something very important, and that's why you may say this is cheesy, but I'm a big fan of yours. Really, I mean, I wait for you to put up a video so I can share it with, I have about 86,000 followers on the website. So I want to put good content on my website. And you just hit on something, and I wait for your next video to come up because it's quality. Because here's the thing, you just said something. You walk by the wall and you look at the wall and you see what's on the wall. Most people who are doing videos right now, oh, here's a checkerboard floor, and they keep going with their video. Oh, here's a pyramid, and you keep going. I like your stuff because, okay, here's the checkerboard floor. This is what it represents. Here's what it's about. And let's break it down. What's going on here? See, that's, to me, quality. And that's what I want on my website and my viewers when they come. It's just not a bunch of Mark Dice, Shield crap. Let's just be honest. And that's what I try to deliver is, look, we can all see all-seeing eyes. We can all see checkerboard floors. My dog can see that. But we need to figure out what are the elite up to, what's their agenda, and make a difference. And people ask me all the time, how can you make a difference? Look, if you're eating healthier, if everybody in this world stopped going to McDonald's, guess what? McDonald's would be gone. So everybody's complaining that they have bad food. Look, that's what we're here to do. Vosto's here to do. I'm waking people up. Then little by little, people stop doing McDonald's. They stop doing Burger King. They stop watching Beyonce. They stop watching Lady Gaga. And it cuts off their money supply and it goes away. That's how you defeat it. until, you know, but anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, yeah, your 2 cents are very valuable, my friend. And yes, it's important to realize that when you see the symbolism has a meaning behind it, much of the things that I break down, I have actually learned from people like you, people. Nicholson1968. That's you. I've learned from you a lot. I learned from maybe around Saturn I. I mean, I'm not gonna be afraid to say who I inspire from, but there's a couple of channels who also get the meanings of things, and that's what I started to see. Hey, it could mean that, it could mean that, and when it's just like in real life when someone teaches you how to, let's say, play a sport. You learn the sport, and then maybe yourself will become a teacher and explore your own ideas and invent your own techniques, which will kind of personalize you.
And it grows and grows, and more people learn about the sport. And that's what we're doing is more and more. If you learn these languages, these crazy stuff that they're doing, you're more aware of it, and tune it out. So
yeah, and it's also important, in my opinion, not just to stop. So if, let's say, Nicholson1968 puts a video out with exposing Lady Gaga or whatever, Justin Bieber, that doesn't mean we should only stop listening to Justin Bieber, or we should see what they kind of support and what world they come from, and maybe even study their record label and see what artists they have on that record label, so we can start avoiding them because they all kind of follow the same agenda. So when I see comments like Lady Gaga is Illuminati but Beyonce is not, or vice versa. Justin Bieber is not Illuminati, but Beyonce is Illuminati. I mean, that's so ignorant. They're all part of the same game to make us superficial consumers. That's what I was talking yesterday with a friend of mine. I was saying, look how music was back in the 90s or back in the 70s, even though they still had occult messages, but it wasn't so consumer supportive. So what did you have in the 90s? You had like grunge music, Nirvana or whatever, but you didn't see them promoting cosmetics or certain or expensive clothes or cars or things like that. This was just a man in a shirt playing his guitar. And nowadays you have all these artists, everything on mainstream just promotes products that we don't really need, and that's why they need these puppets with the looks, who have the looks, so they can wear all the expensive stuff, with cars in the back and with cosmetics all over the place, and so it's good for the industry. Yeah. And that's why you don't see rock music and hip hop music, like real hip hop, not all this drug. It's a conspiracy with the hip hop movement as well. It used to say about the problems of society, and now it's all about drugs and cars and sorry for my expression, hoes and pitches, and
well, but and back in the day they wrote their own music. Now very rarely artists, they don't even write their own music, don't even do their own, the artwork is done for them. It's all part of the agenda of the occultism behind the words, everything. You're right. Nobody writes their own music anymore. It used to be, like you said, an old guy sitting on a barrel and a guitar, and that was it, man. Sitting on the dock of the bay.
They just promote what is profitable for their sponsors, which could be other corporations which have their own interests. And if you're an artist and you say, hey, I'm against corporations putting their stuff in my video, or I'm against the subliminal messagery, or you dare to have a personality, you're eliminated. And that is what we see in other fields as well, not just music. To promote in society, in certain fields or in certain I'm not saying all corporations are bad. There are corporations that are actually good and revolutionary, but fortunately the mainstream ones rely on hierarchy and subordination and complete obedience. And if you're not an obedient slave, then you're gonna be fired and you're screwed.
Right, exactly. Well, let me ask you a question. But since you've been doing this, before you got into it, I know you said earlier that you knew something wasn't right or whatever. But since you've been doing more and more research, I mean, how do you feel about the conspiratorial, the elite, the spiritual aspect of everything? How do you feel about it now, where you're at right now? Is it
That's kind of a broad question, but I don't know, when it comes to the spiritual side, I see a lot of, here's the deal, before the internet and before all this knowledge, I had no clue what was going on. I felt something was wrong, but I didn't know what exactly. And now I have all the information, maybe not all of it, there's no one who can say I have the complete truth, but I see the patterns and where this is going. And when it comes to the spiritual side, there are so many groups who seek to put their claws on the minds of men that it's actually hard to find something sincere. And this is a very complex topic because it all started with the Muslims and the Christians. But you have to understand that there were also different types. So, for example, in the Roman Empire, that there was Catholic Christians in the West and Orthodox Christians in the East. Now, the difference between the Orthodox and the Catholics is that the Orthodox were not so offensive and so conquering. They were more about the defense, and the Catholics were all about conquering and power and money, and it's just crazy how they distorted everything and added pagan influences and collaborated with the Masons who built all their churches. And so when you find stuff like that, it's crazy. And
so I guess where I was going with that is you're seeing there's more to this conspiracy. A lot of people, before they got involved, they just think a lot of people were tinfoil hat conspiratorial idiots. So you're now where you see more. You're like me. You see more to it than
there are so many details. We could talk about a single topic for ages, But nowadays the attention span of the average mind, can't really listen to 3 hours of conference on a certain topic. So then you have to compress. You have to compress a lot. And I'm just saying it's better to be independent today when it comes to all aspects. When it comes to spirituality, you have to be, I think it's much more constructive if you are independent and not manipulated by all these new age scammers who are trying to basically make us worship demons. But I'm taking it to an extreme here. I don't have time to come with the proof right now, so maybe I'm gonna get some criticism for this. But it's all there. It's all in the symbolism, the coming of the new age. These people who talk against the Illuminati and then they come with come and join our yoga session and get these crystals which will make your house impenetrable to the HARP experiments. And it's like a different industry. So don't get caught up in industries. It's the same evil thing behind it.
Yep.
It's just repackaged,
Yep.
And about this new age is really bad. I mean, I know you have some pretty awesome series. One of my favorite series of yours is the 101 series. And I recently been watching the Matrix trilogy again, and I saw a lot of 101s there, man. It was, I think there were, I can't really count how many 101 references I've seen. So what's the deal with this 101, man? Because even in the George Orwell 1984, there was a quote from the tortioner who says, "What is in room 101 is the worst thing in the world." So I come to you, Nicholson, and tell me what is in room 101.
101. Wow, that's a deep one. You definitely have to check the series out because it's 4 parts. So I'm having to do the cliff notes. But oh man, 101. 101 is, think about this. I'm talking in America. I don't know how it is in your country, but anything you learn here, you begin with English 101, the beginning, or Math 101. If you open a bank account, you start with check number 101 usually. It's the start of something. So if you're on a universal scale or a universal time zone, if you look at point 0 on a universal time zone and what falls in between that, because if you go to the left, you got -1, you go to the right, it's a +1. So right there, that's the 101, and you have to see my videos to get the deeper meaning. But basically, where time began, I believe, and that's where Gibraltar is, that's where Rome falls, that's where London falls, and there's, like I said, you're gonna have to go and watch the videos, but it's very important of that time zone of what is involved in that, and it involves the fallen angels and the Gaborian. They were known as Nephilim, but also known as the Gaborian, Gibborim, Gaborian, and the Gibraltar is a Gaborian altar. Giborian altar. It's all it is play words. And up on top of that rock is the Jew's Gate, and it's also in the shape of a 101. So that series involves what that rock is about, how
Could it be possible that it's some sort of a gate to the other unseen world, like around Saturn I, for example? He thinks it's the gate to the bottomless pit from which these secret societies are trying to open, so to unleash kind of the beast system out of it. What do you think of that?
I believe that it's one of the main portals between realms. I used to not believe stuff like that. I would think you're crazy for even saying that. But the elites do believe that area has energy portals, whatever you want to say. That is a main, that rock, Gibraltar, or the story of where Christ was taken up and tempted with the kingdoms of the world. He said, if you bow down before me, I will get, Satan said, and get, I will give you the kingdoms of this world. That's where that happened. That is the representation of that. That's why you see in the movie, it's in Paramount, there's a mountain, and that is Gibraltar. That is the rock of Gibraltar. And there's also 22 stars. If you notice the intro, it's a movie intro to Paramount. The stars fall from the sky, they come touch down, and then they go around that mountain. And there's deeper meaning to that. You'll see video to that too. And that's kind of where my videos and my website revolve around is, the fallen angels, the deception on this earth, that spiritual realm along with the physical realm. So the 101 is an area where a lot of stuff, Gibraltar is known as the cradle of civilization, the cradle, the beginning. So there's a lot that's happening around, and is very important in that time zone, per se, the 101, which has double meaning. Digital age is 101 too. Notice all of the digital codes are zeros and ones. There's just more to geometry and math and sounds than we're taught. And I kind of touch a little bit on all of that in my website.
I don't think it's a crazy. I don't think these are crazy assumptions. What we are saying in this weird conspiratorial zone of YouTube, because if you look into history, you know, you would see figures like, for example, John Dee, who was the personal advisor of Queen Elizabeth I, and he was all into the study of the alchemy and divination, Hermetic philosophy, amongst being a mathematician, astronomer, astrologer, you know, but he was an occult philosopher, and he had these dark ideas, and so when we're talking about portals being opened, you know, that's not just us, it's also written by the officials themselves of some of the most important people, and during the historical times. Of course, they don't do this nowadays, because nowadays information is available to anyone, and nowadays the tactic is to make everyone believe in nothing, so therefore nothing outside of this world exists, so they can't come out on TV or whatever to say, hey, we believe in this crazy stuff, and we have pedophile rings in which we sacrifice children to Molech because that's what we feel like. You know, you won't see that, exactly. but it's there, and it's documented if you look just a tiny bit into the past.
Yeah, and they try to make you believe everything's science fiction, doesn't exist. That's part of the movies. That's part of the music videos, is things that you. I mean, look. Let's take Star Trek with Captain Kirk. He had the flip phone back in the 70s. Everybody thought, wow, the flip phone, wireless phone, that'll never happen. Well, guess what? We're way beyond flip phones now. So that's what you got to take into consideration here, is some of the stuff we're being shown is not science fiction. It's either we've had it or we're getting it, or it's happened. And that's the other part of this. We've had this technology before. Solomon knew. That's part of my new project, Can You Hear Me Now, that I released. It speaks of Solomon, what he knew and what he was doing, and you'll have to check that out. You know, it explains in detail, a little more detail, of what the Templars were after, what the Crusaders were after, why the secret societies, all of them, follow Solomon. They don't follow David; they follow Solomon for a reason. He knew something, knowledge that he knew. And I share that with you. And
we're like telepaths, man. We're like telepaths. Like, that's exactly what I was thinking. But go on.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that everybody was after Solomon's gold and his this and that, and they've never found it. So they've never found it. He supposedly was the richest man ever. He was the wisest man ever, but they can't find any of the gold, can't find any of the temple, whatever. And that's part of the deception that has been played out in National Treasure with Nicolas Cage, many different books, many different movies. But the knowledge he had were the 72 lesser keys of Solomon, where he learned the knowledge of binding up the demons, and it had to do with sound frequencies, the lesser keys of Solomon. That's why you'll see in every Freemasonic lodge in their tracing board, the little ladder that goes up, there's a key hanging off of there. That's the key of Solomon. So, not to give anything away in my video series, but see, Solomon knew the secret of how to manipulate things with sound. What do you think is happening now with the transhumanist movement? We are being programmed and prepped. That's why you see they're trying to get us to adapt to metal, to iron. That's why there's metal in your chemtrails, metal in the vaccines, metal in your GMO food, metal in your teeth. I don't know in what country you're in, but over here they used to put mercury in your teeth. They're trying to get the human body to adapt to metal. And it's not. And that's part of the prophecy in the Christian Bible, is the iron and the clay that do not cleave together, that Christ has to return to break up. And that is the big mystery, is the elite are trying to build a transhumanist beast temple so they can control with the airwaves, the programmable matter, the nanotechnology that people think don't exist, that does. All we are, they're trying to make us like transistor radios or whatever. We're kind of like an antenna. Does that make sense? That's basically it in layman's terms.
Yeah, I can see some of these patterns, like even in the games that I expose, many of them have this whole transhumanism air about it, and it's just the programming is there. I mean, you're right. You know, people may say you're crazy, but in my opinion, you are like 100% on the spot. You know, people just have to take a little look around them. I mean, what kind of musical movements we've had recently? You know, all this dubstep, Skrillex stuff, right? Which is kind of machine sounding. It's like you're inside of a factory. And I like dubstep myself. I mean, I make dubstep, and sometimes I realize why am I creating these machines? It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you have an interesting point. You know, when I was sharing this in blogs years ago and writing stuff on it, think how crazy people thought I was then. But that's why we shared in the early part of this interview. Look how many people have woken up to 9/11 now. That's what's happening now, just now, a little bit with the transhumanism. Hopefully, in 6 years from now, more and more people will wake up to it and understand a little more about the push for why technology is being pushed down our throat. Even, I mean, it is on purpose. It's no accident, you know. So.
I also wanted to add something to one of the points you said earlier about the Templars. If people don't believe this Templar stuff and that they had something to do with the occult, just check out what happened to Jacques de Molay, which was the leader of the Templars back in, I don't know, like 1300s and before that, just a bit. But what Jacques de Molay did when he was captured by the King Philip of France and Pope Clement V, they sentenced him and the other important sort of second place of the Templars officially. They sentenced them to death, and as they were getting prepared to be burned alive at the stake, they cursed these Templars, cursed King Philip and Pope Clement V, and guess what happened? They both died in the same year. They died in 1314.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got two important people. We got the Pope dying and the King dying in the same year. I mean, that's not something random. It's like you would see today Obama and Vladimir Putin dying in the same year. Now, what are the chances of that to happen? Exactly. You know, so when you see things like this, is what brings the truth to the surface. You just have to be open-minded enough to look for it, because this is not stuff that is shown on TV. You know, they might say in the documentary, like, Pope Clement died in 1314, but they don't say why. You know, they don't say about the curse of the Templars. So this is heavy stuff. And going back to the future, I've got comments now saying, well, what's so bad about transhumanism? I wouldn't mind being an immortal machine. Why are you going against this? So tell me what's bad about this, Nicholson?
You sure you want me to go down that road?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, you said something open-minded. And for those who are listening, here's the thing, that if you've never heard me before, is I went looking for truth years ago. I'm not a Bible thumper or anything. I went years ago, I studied the Quran, Hinduism, New Age. I studied it pretty much all, and I wanted to know, because here's the thing: just because you're raised in one country, I was raised here in the United States where Christianity was the main religion. Well, just because you're raised that way, that doesn't mean, I need to find out about other religions or other information. So I took it from there, and the one thing that I found was whatever the elites were doing, they were really against Jesus Christ. Not Buddha, and people, you can argue whatever you want. I'm just saying my personal experience is everything they were doing that I saw in movies and in music videos and their language, it was against Jesus Christ and what he was about. So from that point, it, it went on from there in progression through the years. But the key to it is transhumanism is, for those that don't know what it is out there, is you try to live immortal another way through the help of technology and through iron, tech, whatever you want to say. Now, here's the thing. Jesus Christ came as a man and he died as a man to show you the way to overcome death. Those who don't know the story of Jesus Christ, and I'm telling it in a simple way, is he came in the flesh, Son of God, to show you how to get out of what we're in right now, that Adam and Eve messed up in the garden, which they partook of something, the knowledge of good and evil, which is black and white. That's why there's checkerboard floors all over the place in Freemasonic. And I tell you deeper in my videos what that represents. But basically, there's coming a time where, and it's already getting here, where people just think Jesus Christ was a fairy tale, or he was just symbolism, or he was an allegory, or whatever. But here's the thing. As long as you believe in what he did, and the way to get into the kingdom of God is you come as a man, die as a man. Hebrews 9:27, man is appointed to die once, then judgment. As long as you believe that, you're okay. But the moment you try to live some other way, or you go into the gate pen, a goat going into the gate pen the wrong way, that's also scriptural. The man's a thief and a robber, whatever. Then you don't believe in Jesus Christ. So that's my thing, is the Quran. Anything else that I studied didn't match up with what was really going on, of why we're under attack here on the face of the earth and what the elites are doing. The Holy Scripture does, because you come as a man, die as a man, and you go to the next level. That's what my wording. You go to the next level of whatever, and you're okay. But the moment you take the mark of the beast, transhumanism, download your consciousness into another vessel, and the cloning and all the stuff that's going on, basically you're messing with the Creator's plan, the Creator's temples, the Creator's vessels, which we are. And if you'd have told me 10 years ago I'd be sitting here quoting scripture and talking to you about Jesus Christ, I'd have said, I think you're losing it. But my answer to you, Vosto, and people out there is, I did my studies, and it led me back to what Jesus Christ did and what he came to show us. And it just happened that way. And I thank the Holy Spirit every day that he showed me that. And most of all of my videos are based off of that, some form or fashion of Jesus Christ is the way, and the attack on the temple of God, which is humanity. So hopefully that answers your question.
I could see this perspective. I mean, that's why I follow your videos, But even if, let's say, someone is an atheist, I think that this fake heaven, fake reality, will not be a solution, because I think it might actually be a trap. If you read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, you see how people are engineered, basically, except for the ones at the top. Right. So I think the pattern will continue, and I think the people who will join this fake heaven this machine world by uploading their consciousness, I think either their consciousness is gonna die in the middle of the transfer, because it's just a copy of your consciousness that will get uploaded on the machine, and not your true consciousness, which will die. I think that if you really manage to enter, you are going to be suppressed, or you could even be locked in a cage. I mean, they might advertise it like, oh, it's so good, and then show some videos with the people from inside the virtual world saying how great it is, you know, and people get in love with this idea, because their lives will be under the destruction of a collapsed economical system or whatever we're gonna have. You know, people are not gonna be pleased, and because of this unpleasing created by the system, we will search for a solution which will then be provided by them, and say, hey, we have this perfect world, you don't have to pay any taxes, you just have to sign in and live forever in our servers.
Exactly.
That are kept by the free energy that we just discovered, you know? And then you sell yourself away, basically.
You know, and I try to stay away from, notice what I just told you is, this is the plan of your enemy, of everybody. Because what happens is religion gets you sucked in and gets you fighting Muslims against Christians, Buddhism against this, black against white. You see where that's, you know that plan, you know that agenda. For me, I'm just telling people, look, you believe what you want, but I'm just telling you, look at this video, look at these facts, look at the agenda coming. The elite want transhumanism slave race that they can control through the airwaves with this technology, and which was wiped out in the days of Noah. That's why he had to wipe it out. Humanity was being corrupted, and Noah was chosen for his perfect generation. So for the atheists out there, it says, well, I don't believe in the Bible. Okay, throw the Bible away if you want, but I'm telling you, do your study. You will figure out real quick why the New World Order, Skull and Bones, Freemasonic people do what they do at the top levels. And it has to do with Jesus Christ. Whether you want to, that's it. When you get down to the nitty gritty and studying, you will find that out. It's not about anything else. And I couldn't get away from that. I couldn't shake it. It was just there. Like you said, the agenda's there. You can see it in the movies, music, media. It's being pushed.
I agree. Also, a possible scenario that I see and that I believe, and it makes a lot of sense if you follow the trends of what's going on economically speaking throughout history and nowadays, and looking towards the future. The elites don't really care about the lower class. The thing is, now we can still work for them, we are still useful for them, but when they get the machines self-feeding, like when you get the machine to support itself without the help of the lower class, then they won't need them. So a way to destroy them would be to attract them in this trap, which will be like, hey, did you see how those nice artificial arms work for you? Well, now you don't even need those. You can just upload yourself in this machine and live forever in a perfect way. And that's what I think is the trap, you know. These guys, you think they care about you, they don't, you know. So they just want to be themselves with their elites, and that's it, if possible, if we are not useful for them anymore. Because they also have this mindset which was laid down by in Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike, where you see this mentality of these guys, all the people on the planet, they are just wild animals, and they are gonna eat each other, and chaos will break, they will destroy themselves if we don't control them. So that's what they believe up until today, and they just see us as a maneuverable mass.
They see us as useless eaters. I think that was part of his quote, useless eaters.
Yeah, and so when you see how the elite think about us by using their own quotes, you will see the future. It's not just a possibility what me and Nicholson are saying. It's very close to the reality, and I think that everything that they try to sell us is a scam. I mean, look at the food. The food makes you sick. Everything makes you sick. The air, just like in that network movie, that guy who says mad as hell. He was like, the food is unfit to eat, the earth, the air is unfit to breathe. And he was right. We die of cancer and we don't know why. And then they come with the solutions on TV and say, well, take this and take that and come to our medical specialists.
Yep.
And what they do is destroy you even further, when we could actually use things from nature and cure ourselves and live 100, just like the people back in the 19th century from the rural parts. They were living strong, healthy lives.
Yeah, and that's, exactly what you're saying. I match that up with Scripture that's hardly ever taught. Is mostly in churches, people ask, the Christian churches ask, when will Christ return? And they always say wars, rumors of wars, famine, disease, all of that stuff. But they always leave out, I will come like in the days of Noah. And so then you got to ask yourself, oh, wait a minute, what was so important about the days of Noah? And it's exactly what I said earlier in the interview is creation was being corrupted and almost decimated. And look what we're talking about. You're decimating all of the food. You're working on decimating us. All of it is you're tampering with the Creator's creation. And when it comes to the point, whenever that is, 20 years from now, 100 years from now, when it gets to the point with the stuff that He created and put in motion is almost gone, guess what? That's when it's going to happen. He's got to come out and clean house. That just matches up with Scripture, is days of Noah, corruption with the Creator's food, animals, humans, whatever that is. And when it gets to that point, that's when it's time to pack up. I mean, for me, I truly believe that. So.
Yeah, I can understand this perspective. I mean, it makes sense. And they're building the Babylonian system behind our backs, right?
Yeah.
Like a reggae man would say. But, even that is corrupted. If you look at the Rastafarian religion, like what is the worship behind that? You've got the Ra, back from Egypt, which is part of the Babylonian system, right? Or
yeah, Sumerian, Babylonian, all back through there, and evil comes in.
Can we associate it to the building of the third pillar? This whole Babylonian ultimate goal of theirs, is this what the third pillar represents, which we see on many of the video game logos and the music albums, and even the crashing of the buildings at 9/11, and then they create this one tower which is representing the molding of the two pillars, right? Well, what do you think of this idea?
Yes, definitely. The symbol of the third pillar, which is also on the tracing board of all of the Masonic tracing boards internationally or in the United States, in the lodges, is you've got that third pillar in the background leading up the ascension to become their own gods. That's truly what is being done here. A Mason, a builder, a Freemason is basically they're trying to build a third pillar, third temple to God, which is the transhumanist temple symbolism for the third pillar. You'll see it on Jay-Z's Blueprint album, where you've got all of the sound equipment with the 3 red stripes. You've got Rush in the albums, where the snake is coming back around with the 3 pillars in the middle. It's all over the place. Also, Johnny Depp in the movie Transcendence, the actual E, the letter E in it, is 3 pillars as represented in the middle of the word, transcendence. So
maybe Maybe the Monster drink too. Maybe Skrillex, which is actually has those three pillars in his name, you know, because it's like Scree L, so it's like ILL, which is written in three red pillars.
I mean, see, Satan is trying to, or the enemy, whatever you want to say, Satan, Lucifer, the adversary, is trying to complete his third temple, and Christ is telling us how to complete his third temple. And here's, for us, as long as you come as a man and die as a man and accept who, then you go to that's the spiritual temple that he's speaking of.
Accept what you truly are.
Yeah, right, and Satan is trying to complete his third temple, which is a physical temple, which keeps you here in this place, which is his realm for right now.
Locked in time and space, like around Saturn, I would say.
Exactly, and that's what it's about. Because watch this. This is a story I'm going to share with you that a lot of people don't get. Jesus is sitting around with the disciples, and he says, and he's telling them, I've got to die. That's the plan. I've got to die. Sorry, that's the plan. Peter jumps up, and he says, Lord, Lord, I will not let them kill you. Guess what he says next? Jesus says to him, get behind me, Satan. So Jesus Christ just called Peter Satan. That is the worst thing you can call a person, obviously, okay? So why did he call him that? I'll tell you why. Notice what he said, the deeper meaning of what we're talking about here, Vosto. Peter wants to keep Jesus Christ alive in a physical form. Get it? That's not the plan, Peter. I gotta die to show you the way. It is finished. Do what I do. Follow me. See, that's why he called him Satan, because Satan's plan is to keep you alive here on this earth in the future. That's what it's about. And a lot of people don't want to hear this. I'm going to shock some people when I say this, Vostow. And I'm going to just say it.
Man, you're welcome on my channel.
Okay, I'm going to say it. And I've never said it on a video or anything. When you read Revelations 20, folks, read it. There's a time and a place for those who didn't hear the word, that they've died before. They're not in heaven right now. Sorry, folks. They're not there. There's a time and a place for everything. Read Revelation. There's a first resurrection and there's a second resurrection. That's why you probably are shocked right now. No preacher will preach on this. If they do, let me know. Send me a link. I'd love to hear it. Revelation 20. They won't preach on it because it goes against everything that you've ever been taught. There's coming a time for the people that are read it yourself, that did not hear all of the truth. Just like this. People say, well, what if you're a pygmy in the rainforest and you've never heard about Jesus Christ and you die? Do you go to heaven or hell? Well, I have an answer for you, and it's taught right in Revelation 20, that you will hear that truth. You'll be part of the second resurrection. Read it for yourself. It's there. It's plain as day. And nobody wants to teach on it. So for those who are scared and they're always scrambling around, I got to tell them about Jesus before he dies or whatever. It's okay. It's finished, folks. He will tell those who need to be told in the second resurrection. Whether you believe that or not, I'm just saying there's an answer for that for people. And there's a reason a lot of people don't like religion, because guess what? It's not taught correctly. It's just not. Not that I'm an authority on it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I try to do and read and not listen to man sometimes. Listen to the spirit realm, not the physical realm, a man on a podium. A prudent man counts his steps. And you need to do that and study over it and show yourself approved, you know. And so I've never shared that with anybody in a video. My family knows about it, and a lot of people do know about this, but they're afraid to put videos out on it because everybody's preaching, you either accept Jesus or you're burning in hell. Okay, if you want to believe that, then, you know, I'm not saying there's not a hell and there's not a heaven. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there is a place and a time frame for what's set in motion that is not being taught correctly. That's what I'm saying. That's why Daniel was told to go his way, go to sleep, and when comes times and stuff increases in knowledge, then that's, I'm just telling, there's so many scriptures that pertain to that. So anyway,
what do you have? Yeah, what do you have to say to the people who will be like, well, man wrote the Bible and all that stuff. So, what are the things that can prove that the Bible was actually based on truth that actually happened?
That's a good question too. And
What should people look for?
Well, like me, I went looking for truth, like I said, and was it based, and I'm with you on a lot of things, and a lot of people is, yeah, man wrote a book, but then they say, well, it was inspired by God. Well, how do you know it was inspired by God? I'm with you on that. So here's what happens. I took it to the next level, and the evil that is being done on this earth, okay? The enemy, see, wherever the enemy is focused on, there's the truth. I'm gonna tell you that right now. If the enemy is focused on toothpaste, then I'm gonna tell you right now, you need the toothpaste. You just see what I'm saying? So what I did was I did it from the reverse way, per se, is I started looking into the secret societies, what was going on or whatever, and it led me back to what Jesus Christ was about and a lot of the prophecies that were coming to pass, and I couldn't do that with anything else. I couldn't do it with Buddhism and Hindu. It's nice and you meditate and it makes you feel good, and that's all fine and dandy. The New Age stuff, the Quran got this or whatever, but it didn't match up with the rulers of this earth. The rulers of this earth, it just matches up with their language of what they're antichrist. Basically, that's all it is. They're antichrist and what he came to show us and what he was about and that kingdom. So, can I show you evidence or anything like that? No, I'm just showing you. All I can say is the Holy Spirit shared with me stuff about transhumanism in 1998. I had no idea, Vasto, what it was or what it was about. I'm not that smart of a guy. I just, I wouldn't have known. So
1998, that's when Matrix was actually
right. So I didn't see it because think about it. What I was being shown, I didn't have any reference point. There was not many people out there talking about. I think there was a couple people like maybe Dan Flynn, maybe a couple, maybe a Thomas Horn, but not to this level. So now all the people who thought I was nutso, look. So that's my evidence is go look at the movies. Go look at Chappie. Go look at Selfless, Advantageous. Look at all the stuff now that's staring you in the face of transhumanism and wanting to take you to the next level. RFID chip ain't nothing. RFID chip ain't nothing. That's just preparing you for, I'm not saying it's a good thing and don't take it, but the mark of the beast is way deeper than a chip. Because a lot of people say, well, yes, the RFID chip, they'll jump up and down telling you that's the mark of the beast. But
it's when you completely let go of yourself.
Right. It can't be a chip. I'll tell you why. If it's a chip, then guess what? I can sneak up on Vasto when he's asleep and insert him in the chip in his body while he's asleep, and he's got the mark of the beast and he's doomed to hell. Do you know how stupid that sounds, folks? Think about it. Get off the bandwagon of the RFID chip is the mark of the beast. I'm not saying take it. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I don't want to be. But the RFID chip is a tracking device. That is it. It is not a DNA changer. It's never been proven to change. It's just not. That's not what it's for. And even if it did change your DNA, that's not what a mark of the beast is about. It's about much deeper than that, of your choice and your consciousness and your essence. And Well, anyway, that's a whole.
Yeah, you need to give it away willingly.
Right.
Because that's the game. You
That's
have to
the game,
give them
yeah.
your mind willingly.
Right. And God is not going to put you in a situation where it can be forced on you. He's just not. If you think that, and a lot of people do, it just the language of the way it was translated, it never said force. It was causeth. The person that brings in the mark of the beast causes it. It brings it in. Whatever it has to be done to bring in the mark of the beast. It doesn't say I know one translation says force, but that's a bad translation. But anyway, here's the thing. Let's do this, Vosto. Let's throw religion and everything away. Say you didn't know anything about Jesus Christ. You didn't know anything about any religion at all. All you knew was you saw the movies, music, and the media. And I got to tell you, folks, they're telling you. They're telling you the agenda. Whether I knew anything about anything of religion, they're telling you, hey, this moving your consciousness and trying to live immortal is a good idea. It has nothing. Do you see where I'm coming from? I'm not coming from a religious point of view. I'm just happen to match it up with the prophecy. But whether y'all want to believe in Jesus, Allah, or whatever, the elites of the world, of the humanity, are prepping you for transhumanism, to try to live here immortal, which the deeper secret will be you will be a slave. That's the revelation of those who try to die in the end, try to seek death, but they can't. Think about that scripture. If you knew about transhumanism, you know exactly what that is you can't die. You downloaded yourself into a computer, your consciousness, whatever that is, that's the prophecy. Plus, there's the other scripture, those who lose their life gain it, and those who try to gain their life lose it. What do you think Jesus Christ is talking about? You think it's just some other cliche? No, he's really talking about those who try to gain their life immortally through transhumanism are going to lose it, my friends. Period. That's what he's talking about. And your church is not teaching you that. That's why I do what I do, But,
And that's why you should subscribe to Nicholson1968. Because you get many unique things that you don't see on the other channels, and they just don't got it, And many things that I see now trending on the truth seeker channels, you have shown first. Like there are people who talk now about, let's say, the 88 thing or whatever, and if you go to your channel, if someone goes to your channel right now, he sees that you've been talking about this for many years. I mean, a specific example is you made the 101 series in 2013, I think.
Yeah.
And that's like 2 years before these guys start to talk about it. So, you are definitely one of the first people who have inspired many others to do what they do today, whether they like to recognize it or not.
That is the key, recognize it or not. But yeah, as long as the truth's being put out there and in a good way, and but let's go back to your videos. Not my videos. I'm going to go back to your videos. The reason I like your videos, I know you don't have many views now compared to some of them, but what you're doing is original, and it's inspiring, and it's deeper than just some guy trying to put something up to get it monetized and get money from it. And I like that. And you asked me earlier too, what's the difference between back then and now? I'll tell you, there's very few people that have discernment on YouTube. Most people are just copying other people's stuff and putting it together in a slick way. You know what I mean? They don't have any discernment. They're just watching other people's discernment, and then a year later, 6 months later, put their own video out, and then they don't even reference where they got it or whatever it is. and I don't agree with that totally, is because I think, you know, when I share your stuff, I want to make sure they know it's your stuff, because if they have a question about your video, then they need to come back to you and ask you about your video, because I don't want to know I don't know your thoughts or where you know what I'm saying, to a certain degree.
Yeah,
I think that's
if
very
someone
yeah,
designs a parable, only the designer of the parable will uh, know what the parable is truly about. People can interpret and say what it
and
can
think.
mean, but only the original creator knows what that is. Some people may get close to it though, and I
Yeah.
hope that people like me and you get close to interpreting the parable of this matrix system right.
Right. And another thing I wanted to make clear is I don't know everything. I don't know everything. I'm growing every day and learning, and that's the key I like about you and people like ODD out there, and some others, that you're continually learning. That's how God works. He's constantly revealing stuff and growing and moving through history, and prophecy is coming to pass. Because if everything was done and it's already done, then why did he even say knowledge? He said to Daniel, knowledge will increase. It didn't say knowledge has stopped right here, Daniel, and we don't need to go any further. No, that's not, a lot of Christians have a problem with that, and Muslims, too, is they just think God can't reveal anything outside of that holy Bible. And even in the Bible, it says, I will pour out and reveal to young men and women toward the end of times. And so I know it's a slippery slope of, okay, is God revealing stuff to Nicholson, or is he a false prophet? So I know that's a
Or is he influenced by demons?
demons, stuff like that. And
We
so,
could be influenced by demons, who knows?
you know, sure, no, I mean, you know what I'm saying, but a lot of people have problems with that. So,
Nah, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's very possible that we are influenced by us, by God, or, yeah, I'm not ashamed to say God. People are afraid to say God these days. It's crazy. But I see the manifestation of the dark forces into people like in the creation industry. Like some game developers might not actually be in the Illuminati. They might not be in any secret society or anything, but yet you see specific symbolism that only you, me, and the other crazy people would recognize,
right.
right? And it's so specific that it couldn't just be placed there randomly, because it's in a specific way. It's just like intelligent design when it comes to the creation of the human body, or you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, so I think those people who are not influenced or in any secret society or anything, I think they might have some sort of negative influence from maybe demons, putting in their thoughts. Because if you don't believe in anything, then you are also vulnerable to evil spirits, evil entities, and stuff like that. They could get into you and hack you, just like you hack a computer. And when you create something, it might not actually come from you. So I think that's a possibility as well, and that's why we see a lot of symbolism into, let's say, even independent games who are not success or mainstream. Some of my videos I covered the Talos Principle. That's an independent game. It's
Yep.
not a triple. It's not a AAA. It's not like Lady Gaga or Beyonce in the music world. It's like saying some independent artist, but it's also a promotion of the transhumanism and a completely anti-God message and what occult Masonic symbolism. Why would that be there? There's no one in Masonry from that company. So it's just
And I have an analogy that helps. This may help people out there to wrap their heads around things, because you've got to have the mind of. There's two mindsets, and what I'm going to do is, the analogy is GMO food. okay, and this is what I'm saying and what Vostok was touching on, is there's people out here, they're not going home drawing a star pentagram on the floor and worshiping the devil. And here's the analogy. The people who actually came up with the thought for genetically modified food, okay, they actually in their mind thought, we're creating something good, it's going to last longer, it's going to preserve longer so we can feed people longer, it's not going to go bad, we're going to genetically modify corn per se, okay? So they actually thought that was a good idea, okay? But now, guess what? It's killing us, okay? Now, are they demonic? No. But here's the difference. When you don't have the mind of Christ, or you don't think from the God perspective, then, because here's the thing, if I was the one doing genetically modified food, basically what you're saying is the corn's not good enough the way God created it, and I'm gonna re-engineer it. Okay. Now, do you take that to humanism? It's the same thing. Transhumanism. The way God created us and the cycle that He put us on, I'm going to try to fix it. I'm going to try to make a better human, a transhuman. And here's what I want people to understand is, just because they're doing something bad don't mean they're worshiping the devil. It's just they're supporting another kingdom and they don't even know it. The people who did GMO food, they're killing us, but they didn't set out to do it that way. Just like when Peter jumped up and said, I won't let them kill you, Lord. Peter really felt in his heart he was doing the right thing, but Lord called him Satan for a reason, because he didn't have the ways of God in his heart. He had the ways of man. Because here's the thing, God's plan was, sorry, I got to die. That's the plan. But you see what I'm saying? But Peter wasn't thinking about God's plan. Peter was thinking about his plan, the man's plan. That's the difference. And when you approach things from that perspective, you see things a little bit clearer of what's going on.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense the way you just put it now. You know, it opens a new playing field. And yeah, I don't think many people are thinking about this. They're just like, oh, everyone's evil. Everyone's Satan. They're all worshipping Satan. Even though many of them do. I mean, look at Hollywood with the satanic rituals and pedophilia stuff. But yeah, when it comes to stuff like transhumanism, I've got the scientists saying, oh, we're going to make a great future. We are going to become immortal and live forever, and death will not exist, and sickness will go away, and all this and that, you know.
The butterfly and the caterpillar.
We are worshipping the man. That's why I got a lot of songs nowadays saying that we are gods, you know, like you are God, I am God, everyone's God now. Even though we have done nothing to give us anything close to that title, or anything to an honorable title.
Exactly.
I'm just calling myself God. Why? Because what have I done today to deserve this title? It makes you feel good. It makes you, I'm God. Oh, that's so awesome. But ultimately, I'm going to the toilet, taking a shit, coming back to the computer. So what am I doing to help humanity? Nothing. So
exactly.
So
and you know, it's the caterpillar butterfly thing. Is, look, man, the caterpillar is ugly, just like us, going through his life. Whether the caterpillar knows it or not, he's going to become a butterfly. And it's just like us. We're going through what we're supposed to be going through. Don't monkey with it. Don't try to make a better human. Don't try to make a better caterpillar. The caterpillar will become a butterfly, whether he knows it or not. Do you see what I'm saying? It's the same thing.
Yeah, it makes sense. Also, it seems like every time we create something to help humanity, it turns out the other way around, killing you. Yeah. I mean, the atomic bomb could be an example. Even Einstein regretted some of his theories when he saw that happening.
Yeah, I think Tesla did too. I think a couple of Tesla he kind of regretted too. It was kind of.
Yeah, because Tesla was sucked in the corporate. He thought first it was all good, but then when he tried to do some deeper stuff to actually help humanity, his sponsor was like, nope, we can't sell this, so therefore it is not profitable, so therefore go away, my friend. And he died in what? In poverty, I think. Yeah, something like that.
I think so.
Great orchestra, classical music composers also got from composing tracks and being along the elites, and then when they no longer needed them, they just died in complete poverty. And one of those people is Chopin. He, like, people listen to them today, and this yeah, the perfect music. But go behind the story of the person, and you will also see the negative aspects of the system and what happened to these people. Actually, not all of them, but there are some clear examples. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but I guess it helps to prove. It helps to prove a point that everything that we consider to be good and we create, and it ends up being sponsored by the elite, and when the elite no longer need what, or they don't see it as profitable, they just kill us away, and that's the problem. We see everything as profit, and it's almost like profit is the god of this world rather than morality and human consciousness.
Can't serve two masters, money or God. So you got to pick your pill. And when you pick, money and profit, it's going to get you every time in the long term. Maybe not in this world, but in the other.
Tell us something positive, man, to end the show in a positive way, because it's a bit crazy. So
positive is it's okay. It's under control. I know it's getting chaotic around the world or whatever. The elite are getting desperate. They're pulling out all the stops. Some of the hoaxes, shootings, banking things. I mean, but it's okay. It's try to eat right. Do your research. Get the junk. Most of the stuff, they want you anxious, they want you nervous, they want you scared. But do your research. Got some stuff on my site under the clinic for medical documentaries to a whole page of Nutrition Central right there of things that will help you and clear your mind. And because some of the stuff is just mind fog, I call. They just got you clouded with preservatives and junk and taking pills. And, I've been there, when I was younger and didn't understand all of this stuff. But when you start eating better, eating right, drinking right, you don't have to be a holy man. You don't have to be a righteous man. You don't have to read 50 scriptures. That's not what I'm talking about. It's don't give in to these elites. Turn it on. Don't go to McDonald's. Don't go to Burger King. Don't watch a Lady Gaga. Don't pay money to go to her concert or church, because that's what they're about. Cut off their money. People say, what can we do, Nicholson? What can we do? Look, don't give back to them. If everybody woke up tomorrow and didn't go to McDonald's, their doors would shut. So the more people that Vasto and I and you as a listener can wake up and share with other people, the more awake people are, and they're starting to wake up more and more. That's the positive. That's what you can do. Don't go out with a gun and let's march up to the Capitol. That's not what you do. You wake people up and do it that way, and cut off their money supply, and quit giving and donating to your favorite Democratic or Republican Party. Folks, it's rigged. They own both sides up at the top. It doesn't matter. I mean, come on. We got Donald Trump as the lead Republican candidate. Are you kidding me? The guy can't even comb his hair right. I mean, so just do that. That's the positive thing. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, the life. He died for you guys to show you the way. He's overcome death. Believe in that. I know that may be a cliche to people out there, and that's okay, but hopefully one day you'll see that and realize the importance of the simplicity of Christ and what he did. Come as a man, die as a man. And so anyway,
Like, yeah, that was good, man. I mean, like Charlie Chaplin used to say, machine minds, machine CDs with machine man, machine minds. We just have to stop feeding the machine,
yep.
and then things will turn the right way. Thank you for joining me today, Nicholson. It's always great to talk with you, and I hope the listeners got something from this.
Honored to have you on my website, my friend, and thank you for having me. Thanks.